Hello, everyone. What is going on? My name is Timpedia, and welcome back to the TNT podcast, your weekly source of news on all the things we give a shit about and nothing you guys probably care about.
No one wants to listen. We just want to talk.
Goddamn right.
With me, as always, are two fine co-hosts. In one corner, we have Andrew, a.k.a. Friedman.
Nice to be here, as always.
In the other corner, we have Tyler, a.k.a. Just Tyler.
Yeah, just Tyler.
And we're gonna
jump right into it.
I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna go with some personal news that I just got today. Because
Welcome back to the Timpedia podcast.
It's pretty fucking cool. So I just found out that some people in, I believe there's a guy named Owner who has been hanging around in like my old raid call and stuff for a long time. Apparently, he has finally gotten some people together and is making a Timpire mod for Star Wars Empire at War, which is like the coolest fucking thing. I can't wait to see what they do.
That's a nice thing.
I mean, it's not really anything important, but it's like, this is something I've literally talked about since I started doing Star Wars videos. Like,
no, that's cool. You got some people. You got fans that are
dedicated.
Like put this thing together. Yo, mods are not that easy.
No, I'm sure, and I don't. It's not like it's not a Timpedia mod. It's a Timpire mod because they are honestly all the ones who hang out in the Discord all the time because I'm never in there. I feel bad. Like, I wish I had time to go in there once a night, for every night or so. But that's the cons of being an adult living on your own. But anyway, we'll get on to actual news. But this is news from you two, so it balances out.
Yeah, it could be a third, Tim. Yeah, I'm throwing shade. I'm throwing it.
So
this early.
Listeners, we need to explain. So yesterday was the PC launch of Destiny 2, and your boys here at the TNT podcast.
Your boys here.
We're under the impression that we had a strike team here. But turns out we just got a duo.
Instead of the TNT, it was more like anti. Get it? Get it?
Because it's only the two of us.
Get it?
Get it? Yeah.
Tim? Listeners, do you get the joke? Nah, I'm just kidding. I know you do. You guys are smart. But yeah, we hop in. We're like, yo, where's Tim at? Crickets.
Oh my god, I'm fucking working.
All right,
bullshit.
Oh, we gotta wait. I gotta wait for Val.
Look, I don't like
Din.
I don't like.
And I didn't buy the game.
Weeks. I don't like 60-hour weeks where I don't get paid for almost half of that shit.
But what didn't you do, Tim?
I didn't buy the fucking game.
Yup, see?
That's
listeners.
What happened.
It's a lot of fucking money.
Look at your god now.
Oh my god.
So that said, Destiny 2 came out yesterday.
Look, if you guys are gonna make me use the fucking recording angle, then I guess I'll have to just make it work.
All right, well,
goddamn right.
All right,
yeah,
live on air. I'm putting myself on blast. I'm gonna download the fucking Blizzard launcher, okay?
Oh,
yeah,
baby. Wait, hold on, time out. You didn't even have the Blizzard launcher?
Why would I if I wasn't sure I was gonna buy the game?
No.
Over dank.
Oh, Jesus.
Nope,
and now I'm going to uninstall everything preemptively.
This is a conversation for after the podcast.
No,
anyway.
It isn't.
Yes, it is.
No.
All right, you know what? Listeners, fine. You want to bring it here? Listeners, you remember when Timpedia himself said, oh, he's so hyped for Destiny 2, we're all gonna dedicate we're gonna dedicate a single day for raid. Yeah, D2 the Mighty Ducks.
Oh my God.
We even partially dedicated our last week's show.
Look, can we move on? I'm already downloading the shitty fucking...
he doesn't want to.
All right, so
he doesn't want to.
I'm downloading the shitty launcher.
All right, so I didn't put this topic in the notes to shame you, Tim. I put it in because Tyler and I have this unique scenario of the two of us playing where Tyler played a lot of Destiny 1 and I played literally none of it. So we have two different perspectives about how the game seems.
Which is very different.
Very different. So I played
different.
basically the intro to Destiny 1 and then gave the game back to my friend because I didn't have time to play it at the time.
Oh, wonder what that's like. I'm kidding. Keep going.
Whatever,
Anyway,
man.
the one takeaway I got from playing through like the intro missions and everything is this game is very pretty. It is one of the better looking PC shooters I've played in a while. Handling's pretty nice. I was telling this to Tyler, it feels like a console shooter. Like I had to remap some of my keybinds, but I like it so far. I feel like playing with a controller on PCs probably feels exactly the same as it does on console. Tyler, what do you think of it? As someone who understands like the lore.
I have to make one comment. After you playing and making some of the comments you did about like you asked a lot of stuff about the user interface, which is completely fine. Those are questions I didn't mind.
Yeah.
Those are things that I overlooked as a veteran player. And it made me realize that the UI is actually shit in Destiny.
Wow.
Yeah, so once you understand where everything is, it's really easy to navigate. But once you start out, there's no nothing tells you where stuff is. They're just like dots on your screen. Like I saw one and there was an arrow, and I assumed there were two zones connected. No, that's your drop-off point when you want to fly in from space. And now that I see it, it makes sense. But there was nothing to explain it to me, and I kept asking Tyler a million questions. Hey, how do I get to here? How do I get to there? Where I keep getting all these item drops, they're not in my inventory. Oh wait, they're on your item screen. Items aren't in your inventory. And it was stuff that makes sense now, but like when I first approached it, I was very confused.
But see, I think that like what you are explaining is what like separates good user interface experience with bad. Because if it was good, then you wouldn't be asking these questions. You would intuitively know like to go there, right?
Yeah, but like the thing is, in terms of usability, it's very easy to go through things fast when you know where you're going, but there's no system for teaching you where you should be going.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think it's shit to an extent.
It's efficient but not user friendly.
There you go. Yeah,
that's the way you put it.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. That's a good one. That's a good way to put it. My overall thing is I think it's solid so far, honestly. They kind of mixed up with some new enemy types. They're not just the cut and paste Halo type enemies from the first game. Like literally, those skinny dudes that we were fighting.
The purple ones?
Yeah, the purple ones. Like they were usually modeled after the elites, like animations and all. In Destiny 1. Now it looks like they started mixing them up a little bit. So I like how they've started to change stuff there. Like you could definitely tell they polished a lot of things. PvP is still kind of shit, in my opinion. But that's gonna be a bias forever. I just love PvE. It's just relaxing. I don't know what it is. But
also, if anyone's curious about Destiny, go on YouTube, look up the video Destiny Bro. It's surprisingly accurate to what this game is about.
It's extremely accurate. Coming from dumping at least 200 fucking hours into Destiny 1 at least. I think it's solid so far. Like I said, I think I explained it to someone earlier. Someone asked me, "How are you liking it?" And I'm like, "Check back with me in 20 hours."
It's really hard to say what you think about a game like right off the bat. Like if you ask me about the Guild Wars 2 expansion from like a month ago, the first week I loved it. Second week I realized, wow, this is a really shitty expansion. So you gotta let that honeymoon phase end before you can really give like a good assessment of what you think.
Yeah, what's gonna really determine it for me, maybe you as well, Freeman, is like after the main story is done, and
how
like
far is the rest of the content?
Exactly, because that's where the it's as cliche as that sounds, it's where the real game starts.
Yo, that's the way it is. You spend more time playing endgame shit than you do anything else. So it better be good.
So yeah, that's how I feel. That's my first impressions.
All right.
Life is Strange.
Yeah. So speaking of things with number 2 in it.
Hey, I was waiting for you guys to finish, man.
What?
What did you want to say?
Well, you guys just kind of jumped real fast. I didn't know we were segueing that quick.
Didn't know you had first impressions, Tim.
I didn't, but I thought you guys would like. Usually the segue's a little more fucking subtle than the.
What do we got?
Speaking of two,
speaking of the number 2.
Speaking of the number 2.
Number 2.
This is number 2.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
Episode 2, Freeman. Teenagers strike back.
Oh, Jesus.
So last week, the second episode of Life is Strange Before the Storm came out, which signaled to me I've been absolutely terrible at trying to keep up with games and completely missed playing the first episode for 2 months. So I marathon episodes 1 and 2 on Sunday afternoon, which at some point prompted you guys to watch that Life is Strange. What was it? The Ross's Game Dungeon Life is Strange video?
Actually, it was just a subscription.
Or it just happened to come out at the time?
Yeah, it just happened to come out.
It was literally pure chance.
Yeah. I didn't know you were playing it. Like, I saw it on my YouTube feed, and I was like, oh.
I remember that you
Ross came out
mentioned
with a
it,
new
but
video.
yeah, Ross is just
I figured I'd
so
mention it or something
funny.
because it was too coincidental that I was still in the middle of playing it when you sent that link. But anyway, it's okay. The noticeable issue is the Screen Actors Guild, which includes a lot of voice actors, is still on strike. So almost every voice actor from the first game couldn't come back to reprise their role. They're still on strike? They are still on strike.
Damn.
Or I think it just recently ended, but the thing is they casted everyone for this 3-episode series while the strike was happening.
Yeah.
The original voice for Chloe, who was like the second most important character in the first game, is the protagonist for this one, and her voice actress got replaced, and it's very noticeable at how not as good this voice actress is. Overall, the game's like more of the same. They definitely stepped up stuff like facial animations because they switched over from using the Unreal Engine to using Unity, and I think they're a lot better with it.
That's strange.
Yeah, Life is Strange. The atmosphere is all there, which is the whole reason I love the game. The music for the last episode has been really good, but the plot's pretty shitty so far, and I'm starting to notice a lot of flaws with the Life is Strange formula. Where like anytime you walk into a room, someone will be like, "Hey, can you go grab the blah blah from the other room?" And that's your cue to you can explore this room for the next 10 minutes. And it was really noticeable in these last episodes because there were just so many like scenes where it's like, "Hey, go fetch that thing for me," and then it's like, "All right, cool, I get to go look at every item in the room before I progress the plot." Overall, it's okay. The game sucks without having time travel in it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
So, they had like replaced it with this mechanic where you can just have arguments with people, which fits the character, but it's a dumb plot mechanic. I'm gonna be excited when episode 3 comes out. I'm probably gonna be let down. I still am waiting for Life is Strange 2, which is gonna have like a different story, but it's gonna keep that same kind of mechanic to it. So we'll wait for more news. But other than that, that's all I got to say about Life is Strange for now.
Sweet.
Moving on.
Yes, moving on to something a little more actiony than Life is Strange, probably.
Oh, the Punisher! The Punisher got a new trailer last week.
More importantly, not canceled after the Comic-Con and everything and the Vegas thing.
Yeah, which I'm glad they didn't. Like,
no.
I feel like that kind of stuff. Yeah, also it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm glad they still do it, like stuff like this anyway, like why people still go to events, right? Because then that just means the terrorists win and all that kind of stuff. It's that political stuff that I'm kind of supportive of. I don't know, like I feel like it's nice. Also, I just like the Punisher, and I'm glad that they're going through with it. It also got a release date of November 17th.
Sweet, I'll be sure to not watch it because I'm so far behind on shows.
Oh man, so it's gonna be great. I hope it's gonna be the week of my birthday, so it's gonna be a nice birthday present to me.
Solid present.
Yeah,
guys, for my birthday, I'm gonna sit inside and watch The Punisher. Hell yeah.
Yo, actually, fuck everybody. I told everybody, I'm like, I don't want anyone doing anything for my birthday. I told Leslie, don't bother me.
I was gonna say you told Leslie, and she'll be like, okay, Tyler, good, because I don't have any money.
Yeah, damn. No, she got a new job. She could spend.
That doesn't mean jack shit.
She's got money.
That doesn't
She's
mean
got money to spend on me.
Oh my god.
It's free money. It's fake money. Freeman's trigger. It's free. It's just fake money.
Listeners, if you have a credit card, that's not just free money. Don't treat it like it's free money.
We're totally not talking about someone we know at all.
Make me give you the talk.
We've just been talking about.
What do you mean?
Oh god.
Oh yeah, but
ain't cash.
But yeah, the Punisher. It's gonna be. I hope it's gonna be sick. How do we segue this, Tim?
I don't know, but we go from
Shit.
17.
No,
Let's go down to 13.
We're fuck it. Who cares? We're already dying on the vine, so we might as well.
No, keep the
No, we're
numbers
thriving.
rolling.
Gotta keep it rolling. The D2 into episode 2 into.
So,
Don't know how we got to 17, but
anyway, fucking.
she's only
God.
17.
Oh Jesus. Anyway, just the other day, I think today is actually the day. 13 games from the original Xbox were added to the Xbox One backwards compatibility, along with some HDification. 2 of which are incredibly important to me. KOTOR 1 is now backwards compatible from your original Xbox disc, which is sitting right in our living room, or right in the dining room. Freeman, you probably sat about 3 inches away from it when you guys were here.
KOTOR.
I'm surprised they're doing this.
I think this is amazing. This is the one thing that Microsoft is doing better than Sony at this point, is this backwards compatibility.
I'm gonna ask you. This is Light Flame, but who the fuck plays Crimson Skies, Tim? Who?
I literally, Tyler, literally 3 feet away from me on the floor is the second copy of Crimson Skies: High Road to Revenge that I fucking have for the original
What
Xbox.
the fuck? Who the fuck plays those games?
Dude, that game was a lot of fun. That was a great arcade.
You're the only person I was playing
Tyler,
those games.
I fucking, oh my god. I was listening to one of my best friends' podcasts today, and they were fucking talking about how the big games from this were some dumb fighting game no one cares about just because they're fighting game nerds.
Damn.
KOTOR and Crimson Skies was the third one that actually matters.
You're telling me, so you're saying Halo doesn't matter?
Halo's not on this list.
Oh, you're just talking about the list.
I'm talking about specifically the 13 games from the original Xbox that were added to the Xbox One library today. As backwards compatible.
All right, hold on. So here's the thing.
But where's Fusion Frenzy, though?
It's on there too. That also came.
Baby!
Okay, now we're going to the whole list. Now, because you said that.
Because I said Fusion Frenzy.
Oh, no.
Okay,
Yo,
because...
Fusion Frenzy on the 360 was pretty dope.
Okay, here's the article. Original Xbox compatibility and
game.
13 games arriving on Xbox One tomorrow. Here are the 13. Black, Blood Rain 2, Crimson Skies: High Road to Revenge, Dead to Rights, Ninja Gaiden Black, Fusion Frenzy, Grabbed by the Ghoulies, King of Fighters Neo Wave, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, which is kind of cool, Psychonauts, which is kind of cool, Red Faction 2, which is kind of cool, Sid Meier's Pirates, and Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic.
3/4 of that list is good.
Yeah.
Black was surprisingly good.
Really? Because they were like talking shit about it on the podcast.
I like that game. Mostly because the shooting mechanics at the time were like pretty solid.
I mean, Psychonauts is that cult classic. Red Faction 2, I tried
that game so much.
Dude, I've played all the games for YouTube except for 2 because every time I tried to record 2, it would crash in about 10 seconds.
Let's see, Blood Rain was a bad game.
Well, I have a quick question here.
Okay.
This is just support for playing your physical copies of the game from.
You can
the
put in
original
your original Xbox disc into your Xbox One for one of these games, and you'll get a digital copy, and it'll work.
Okay, that was my question. Is there
Yeah.
also a digital copy available? 'Cause
Yeah, you can buy digital copies of these also.
Okay, all right. 'Cause I
Who
was
the fuck-
confused. Who the
Who
fuck
plays? Who
Well,
plays Dead to Rights? Are you playing Dead to Rights?
I don't
Dude, I play
even.
that game every Wednesday.
No, listen.
Shit.
Some of these I don't understand at all. Like according to that podcast, this King of Fighters Neo Wave game is a giant pile of garbage.
Wait, Neo Wave.
I don't
I've
understand
never even heard
why.
of it.
But like you said, Tyler, most of this list is actually pretty solid. Like Black as Blood Rain 2, at least as a name people recognize
Black
from the original
doesn't
Xbox.
Doesn't
but
make
This
any
isn't
sense
my
though.
King of Fighters.
Crimson Skies, KOTOR, Sid Meier's Pirates, Red Faction, Psychonauts, and Prince of Persia, and Fusion Frenzy, honestly, are all kind of big names from the original Xbox. Like-
Shit, this makes me just wants to do a best of again now. God damn it.
Best of the 13 games that brought forward
re-releases.
some-
Yeah, because
Well,
man, Sands of Time was such a great game. But
Um,
what happened to those other 2 games?
dude,
I feel like I talked about them.
I didn't play any of them, but I know that Princess Sands of Time is the one that is supposed to be good.
Sands of Time was magnifique. And then you go and then you play Warrior Within, and all of a sudden, fucking what's that band? Stand alone.
Oh my god!
Side eye.
They're re-releasing the Duke. Some guy, I just found this article because I was reading through Polygon's article about the games, and they have a link to an article where some engineer from Microsoft, along with a company who makes controllers, Hyperkin, is re-releasing the Duke for use with Windows 10 computers and Xbox One.
Oh man,
Bruh,
who the fuck wants the Duke outside of
me?
Ed Reed? Oh, apparently
Me! I love it.
Ed fucking loved the Duke because his hands are gigantic monster hands, so he was like, this is perfect.
Why would I ever want to hold that monstrosity again?
Dude.
I do. Nah, it was funny.
All I need for the rest of my life is my Elite.
I remember I used to play with a couple of people, like some old neighbors of mine, and they would give me the fucking big ass controller because they think, you don't come over here as often, so we're gonna give you the big controller, and I'll just dumpster them in Halo every time.
Oof.
And they thought it was like a handicap, and I'm like, okay.
Dude, that was the challenge. Win at Smash Bros. With the shitty Mad Catz controller.
The shitty Mad Catz controller with the turbo button.
Hell yeah.
We gotta really pick up the pace. We're already like 20 minutes in, and we've barely covered less than half the news, so...
All right, so we had 13 games on here, but there were 2 that you would point out. But speaking of the number 2...
Can't always be numbers.
Yes, it can.
Yes, it can.
Season 2 comes out on Friday, which is 2 days from today. So I'm very excited.
Shit.
I was supposed to hang out watch anime with my buddy, and I'm just gonna be like, bro, we are not watching Japan shit. We got non-Japan.
We're coming
Stranger
home.
Things.
We're coming home. Gaijinville.
Sorry, I forgot which section. I was like, oh, this is my transition point to the Weeb shit. I'm like, oh wait, we got a lot of shit before the Weeb shit. So nope, don't make that transition. But yeah, Stranger Things 2. Get hyped.
Well, season 2. Because you
What did I say?
you said Stranger Things 2, so that implies that it's like the sequel show.
Whatever.
No, I understood what you meant, but it just sounds funny.
It's
like,
actually season 2.
I want to watch the season. I want to watch Stranger
I can't wait to
Things
play
2.
Stranger Things 2.
Can't wait to play Stranger Things
I'll
too.
play the sequel video game to...
Life is Stranger.
Speaking of 2, which is the amount of controllers that are built into the Switch controller, which is...
This is... Oh, God. I'm about to have an aneurysm.
Yo, there's numbers set up for all this shit. Today's news is going to be great. Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct yesterday, but before that, some additional things happened. First of all, the new Mario comes out on Friday, and it's looking really, really good.
that creepy hat game.
Yeah, it might be a creepy hat game, but it's also a full Mario game at the same time.
Hey, look, I can't help it if he fucking mind controls people with a hat. It's a little creepy.
Look, I'm not going to dispute it.
The lack of responses until Freeman said that was fucking proof enough that it's a little creepy.
But apparently, everyone who's played it says it feels good to play.
I'm sure.
Like, there was what was the last Mario game that came out? It's like 3D World or something. No one talked about how much they liked handling in that game. The one for Wii U, no one talked about it. It wasn't as good as Galaxy or Galaxy 2.
Nope.
Point is, everyone's really liking the way the new game's handling. They did one of those things they do every time a Mario game comes out where they have just like demo stations set up everywhere with just one level. But different demo stations had different levels or whatever. Point is, people really liked it. Everyone has early copies. There's spoilers all over the internet. Try to avoid those. I basically just unsubscribed from all the Nintendo subreddits for the rest of the week to avoid spoilers. Not that it matters, it's a Mario game, but still. That's Friday. I know me and Tyler want to play, but neither of us can purchase it because we need money, and we don't have time, and D2 Mighty Ducks is happening. On top of that, they put out a software update leading up to it, and they added support for, if you have them, USB Type-C headphones, which I think is interesting that they're doing pseudo hardware compatibility updates. Because when it first came out, the USB port was pretty restrictive, and what it let you do is basically just charger in, and then you could. I don't think you could use third-party USB to HDMI cables. You had to use the dock that was included, but I think they're opening up to just any kind of connector. Or I don't know if it is already open. Correct me. Do it. Put it in the comments.
Do it.
Do it.
And the last thing, actually, hold up, I gotta move that Animal Crossing news into this section because I completely forgot we put it for this week. They finally discussed the Animal Crossing mobile game. News about that came out yesterday. It is going to be out in November, and it looks nothing like a full-fledged Animal Crossing game. There doesn't look like there's a lot of town management. It's more like you're in a town, and the more people you talk to or add as your friends, you get points you use to buy items to decorate your room. And it just seems like a watered-down, shitty version of Animal Crossing, which seems to be Nintendo's MO for mobile games lately. I'm genuinely curious what Luigi thinks about this, because it's not looking that good.
Damn.
Yeah, I was really hoping they would also announce like an Animal Crossing for Switch or something, because that's where this game belongs. Last thing to come out of the Direct was Nintendo's been pushing that they do want more mature titles on their console. And then we got the trailer for Shin Megami Tensei 5, where there's just some demon like eating some girl in half in the middle of the trailer. And SMT 5 is going to be exclusive to the Switch, which is pretty interesting because a lot of the SMT spin-offs have been exclusive to the 3DS line. So this is pretty interesting to see them partnering with just Nintendo. A lot of the core, like darker Shin Megami Tensei games over the last couple years were PS2 exclusive. They released hardly any for mainline consoles during like the PS3, Xbox 360 gen. So it's interesting to see them coming back to essentially a console. I don't know if Switch is like somewhere between a handheld and a real console, but interesting to see them coming back to that. And there wasn't any kind of dates announced, but it looks really cool. But that's it for Nintendo news. As I can tell, you guys are both so excited to hear.
No, yeah, what I'm excited for is fucking 5-color humans, baby.
Yo,
Damn.
Oh my god. So this is the quick news stuff, and this is where we put our usual sections for MTG and Overdang. So
we're gonna mash them into one horrible amalgam of news.
Yeah, the core news. But yeah, 5-color humans did really well at a bunch of modern tournaments, and like half the modern summer is just, how do I rebrew 5-color humans to use blah blah card in it? And everyone's like dying to just make this their pet deck. But the problem is, and Tim posted or sent me this video the other day about the card Meddling Mage, which is the whole reason this deck did so well this weekend. And honestly, no one wants to play this card in their deck. Everyone's looking for cuts because it's a. For anyone who doesn't know what Meddling Mage does, it's a creature that when it enters the battlefield, it's target player can't cast the name spell.
Yeah, you name a card and the opponent's
your opponent can't cast
it. Even though I don't think multiplayer matters.
matters.
But cannot cast the named card.
So it's really good for shutting down combo decks. Like it shuts out
Like
Storm completely. Any deck that's very like light on threats. Like if I were to play against like something like Grixis Death Shadow, they only have like 3 creatures in that deck. You name one of them, bam, you just blanked a third of that deck's creatures. It's a good card. Everyone's trying to figure out how to brew without it. A lot of people are missing the point of why the deck is good, and people are trying to cut colors and bring it down to like 2 or 1 color humans.
Get the fuck out of here. There's no point.
Everyone's like, oh man, can I cut it down to black, white? And everyone's like, oh, you mean play Aristocrats, the deck that can't win anything? So like everyone's missing the point of why this deck is good.
Freeman, don't you play black, white token?
No. People are talking about playing black, white humans.
I know,
which
but
is very no, tokens stay solidly tier 4.5 deck, and I'm proud of that. I'll still jam it every game I can, but that's all
the whole.
Going on.
That's half the point of you guys visiting Ohio is so you can go to the store and jam black white tokens into the fucking modern.
Just remind people that I'm so behind the meta. Anyway,
yeah,
speaking of, this has nothing to do with the meta.
No, I was just gonna say the video that I posted. This guy named Pleasant Kenobi made one of the dumbest, goofiest, memeiest videos you've ever seen, and I was dying laughing and sent it to Friedman. About how in basically the finals of a Star City Games modern event this weekend, where the one where 5-color humans won, was basically the most boring match ever, because game 1 he plays land into storm, land pass land Meddling Mage naming Grape Shot, and the guy has no other win condition in his deck and instantly scoops on turn 2 to fucking
puts his hand out, says good game over.
And then game 2, he has one other win condition, which immediately gets destroyed by another human card, and the guy just blows him out of the fucking water. It's hysterical.
Yeah, if there's any deck that gets shut down by 5-color humans, it's actually Storm. Moving on to Overdank.
Yep.
This one is barely even news. I just saw this headline today and thought it was hilarious. But there's been a lot of talk about who is and who isn't getting banned in Overwatch. Like what behavior is considered shitty and bannable. Like because everyone's really concerned about toxic environments these days. But point is, they redefined what it means to do harassing things in Overwatch, and spamming voice lines is now considered harassing behavior. So if you're sitting there spamming your Genji Weeb line saying "Mata Mata" over and over again, congrats, you might get banned.
Which is
It's a little stupid, because that's my favorite thing to do in game is just spam the voice lines.
Is it? I'm guessing it's that much of a problem, but I never saw it as an issue.
Look, I knew that Overwatch was a very accommodating game for everyone, but I'm just going to say this. I think everyone's getting a little too sensitive about what is, like, harassment in these games. If someone's saying, like, a predetermined voice line over and over again, deal with it. Someone's being annoying.
Nope. Because you know what? I remember playing Hearthstone. Dude, when you get fucking blown out because your hand sucks I haven't played Hearthstone in years, and I remember this, but I remember recently someone mentioned this on the Magic subreddit, how they were worried that this might happen in Arena. When you are just so blown out of the water and the fucking opponent says, "I'm sorry." Nothing.
Amazing.
And you just hear the voice like, "I'm sorry." And as your character explodes because you concede because you have nothing else going on. Oh my god.
I'm
It's
sorry.
like the same thing as like playing Rocket League, where the second you miss a goal, the other team just starts spamming, "Nice save, nice save."
Oh, dude.
Nice save, nice save, nice save.
All of those burn so hard.
It's great.
My favorite part of Rocket League.
It's like in League when they added the emote system and everyone would just they just recently added emotes. So as soon as you kill someone, you walk over their body and spam the thumbs up emote and shit
Get
like
fucked.
that. Every fucking see the only reason I disagree with this for Overwatch, actually, funny enough, is because it happens in every game. This doesn't feel like something that you're really controlling, because this is something that every game has a problem with.
Yeah,
maybe
a lot of the voice lines aren't really like not most of them aren't like trash talk phrases.
Oh, they can always be trash talk phrases, Friedman.
Every character's got like one.
Friedman,
like one
it's not
when you hit him with the ni hao after you freeze. Ni hao,
it's not even the act of what you say. It's just the fact that you're spamming it always makes you a dick.
Honestly, it doesn't bother me. I know it's just me, but
it doesn't usually bother me. But I just I still am traumatized by that fucking happening.
Spam shit. People spam shit like in the thing, and then all of a sudden it's just like, now when the game starts, typically people just kind of like, do whatever.
40 seconds you spam emotes and voice lines, because what else can you stare at the wall and do nothing? No, I got ADD and I'm trying to play a video game here. I gotta just do something
instead of trying to sink the basket.
Oh yeah, on the one map, or a couple maps have it. But
is it the shoes? Trying to play NBA Jam and shit.
You got Symmetra coming over there, just cheesing her way into the basket. Anyway, I'm tired of watching this. This is horrible. I don't want to see this. This is just shit I don't want to watch. And speaking of shit I don't want to watch, it's
man,
I had to work way too hard for that transition.
At least you had more than one step, so it wasn't like step one and then off a cliff gone.
Whatever, man.
Hey, but in terms of actual unwatchable shit, Twitch partnered with, I don't know if they're doing with Crunchyroll, they're with whichever group owns currently owns the 4Kids dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! They partnered with them to bring us 5 weekends, or maybe it's 5 weeks, but broken up, of just continuous Yu-Gi-Oh! Streams.
Hell yeah.
So right now they're on season 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! And it sounded really good in practice, because everyone's just popping off Blue Eyes White Dragons,
of course,
Bandit Keith in America memes.
Oh,
that is great. It's I was on with it. It's awesome. The problem
in America.
The problem is, and this is what people complained about during the Crunchyroll stream, was there was credits, or not, sorry, like a commercial break halfway through the episode, and then right after the credits. And the commercials were 2 to 3 minutes long, and everyone was bitching because they're like, "Why are there commercials? Like, they're not actually showing anything. It's just more of a 'we'll be back soon' kind of message."
Well, that's not even a commercial. That's just a break for no reason.
It was just a break for no reason. The problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is they're using the spot where you would normally have commercial breaks on live television. So there's a commercial break, then there's the opening, which is 40 seconds. Then there's a commercial break. Then there's the first 7 minutes of the episode. then a commercial break, then 7 minutes, then a commercial break, last 7 minutes, commercial break, then the credits, then a commercial break, then the opening for the next episode.
Holy shit.
It's actually like 40 minutes to an episode where you're spending half that time watching the "we'll be back soon" message. And it's really annoying. Like, I was trying to watch it while I was playing like a little bit of Guild Wars after we played Destiny last night. And it was like every time I looked over, it's the like coming back in a minute screen. It's really awful, and I really hope they fix it. But if you happen to be watching it, it's not on commercial break, it's real good.
In America.
In America. Everyone's saying like, oh, Twitchcast Stream of Greed. What does that do? Oh, it lets you add 2 new commercials to your stream.
That's a spicy one. That's pretty good.
Nani? Nani?
Speaking of Nani, the prequel to Fist of the North Star is getting a new anime now that the manga is completed. I think it was like 5 years ago it finished. They had an anime about 10 years ago. I didn't cover a lot of the plot of this show. Fist of the Blue Sky? Yeah, Fist of the Blue Sky. But they are doing a new one, and I'm very excited because this kind of reminds me what happened when they finally went back and redid JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And it was just a show about big, muscular men and punching and crazy shit, and the animation was dope. And I'm hoping Fist of the Blue Sky looks something like... If you can get it to look like JoJo Part 1, Part 2, this would be a great anime to watch. On the topic of great-looking anime, Kyoto Animation showed off a trailer for their new show, Violet Evergarden. And I didn't know what the show was about, but the trailers are absolutely beautiful. It looks like some kind of like 1930s, maybe steampunk looking thing. Someone has this mechanical arm that looks straight up like Automail in the trailer.
Gosh.
But there's a bunch of people in like streetcars, and it kind of looks, it has that aesthetic to it, and it looks really good. I'm very excited. Kyoto Animation usually is like top of the game when it comes to like nice, clean animation. They did 2 of my favorite shows in high school, which Crunchyroll just got a hold of, and this is our last story point, that Crunchyroll got a hold of the Haruhi series as well as Full Metal Panic. So they have both those. I haven't checked if they have the dub, but they have the first 2 seasons of both of them. The 3rd season of Full Metal Panic, I don't know who has the license right now, and Haruhi just has a movie, and that's the entire series. But all those are up there if you want to watch them. I think it's free to watch. So yeah, definitely check that out. And I think that's it for the Weeb shit.
Wow. Wow, we went from going really slowly through the news to just blitzing through.
Yo, like these are short stories. I don't have any like good discussion topics for anime.
That's true.
We're on week 3.
So if we want to talk about My Hero,
no mas.
I've cut it down. I've cut it down to 1 time a day listening to the song. And I was fucking taking a bath and chatting with Val earlier, and I just started playing it on my phone. And she was like, "God damn it! Now it's back in my head again."
Damn.
I weaned myself off the openings. I was listening to the one song from the soundtrack. Anytime Deku does something cool in season 1, the track's called "You Say Run." Mm-hmm. That track is just fire. I love it.
Oof, just fire.
It's just fire.
Let me go on YouTube right now and listen to it during the break. What's it called again?
It's either "You Say Run" or "You Say Go."
You say Run came up first, so
yeah, it's "You Say Run."
Usain Bolt.
God damn it.
Yeah, I could tell this has already been put to like 10th. There's multiple Dragon Ball Z videos that now have this as a soundtrack to it.
It's the new version of the Guile theme, goes with everything.
Oh my god. You say... Okay, we're going to cut to break in a second here before the topic, but
I thought we were already on break.
No, hell no, dude. You Say Run goes with everything. Shaggy turns brave and Go Beyond plus Ultra.
Oh god, I need to see this now.
All right. So we're gonna take a break, and we're gonna retcon all of this stuff that we're talking about so that it's out of the podcast and not canon anymore. But as a side note, our topic is retconning things. So we'll take a break, and we'll go watch this incredibly shitty looking video.
Oh my god, this is the best video ever.
And when we come back, we're going to talk about retconning our favorite things, and Star Wars definitely won't be mentioned, so whoops, better retcon that. Bye, guys. We'll be back. Yeah. And we're back, everybody. We are we're here to talk about retcons. Oh, that was a bad take. Scratch that.
Man, this like incites nerd rage on all levels.
It
Wait, hold on,
does. What?
Yeah. Wait, you said it was a bad take. I wasn't sure if you wanted to try
I was
it again.
kidding. It was a retcon, Freeman. Jesus, that's a
It's a
fucking
retcon joke. That
Oh
was the
my
theme.
God.
His theme.
Completely caught me off guard.
Oh my god. Anyway, no, retcons, overall, I think they suck. They tend to never go off as well as you'd like. And I'm definitely not salty because of Star Wars. I'll never be salty because of Star Wars, but for sake of example, let's say I'm salty about Star Wars.
No, you're not salty. If you've been sitting in it for a while, you're marinated.
You're
You're
marinated.
marinated about Star Wars.
Dude, the cuts are so deep. They're like still fresh.
Honestly, I think out of all of the retcons that I've seen,
That's probably the worst one of all time.
it has to. Almost anything that Harrison Ford's in gets fucking retconned to
Wait, what do you
shit,
mean?
dude. Huh?
Well, like
fucking
indie?
Was indie retcon? I feel
Not
like it might
really.
have.
That's why I was.
I'm trying to think. No, like I was thinking of Blade Runner, but I don't know if that's a
Oh.
retcon.
No, it's
As
just a
much as an
sequel.
Man, I
addition?
can't believe they retconned American Graffiti. Such a tragedy.
Oh, Friedman. Going so back. Oh my god, dude.
Jeez. No, because I was thinking of. Oh no, it was an addition. That's right, to Blade Runner. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about like all the side shit outside of 2049 that they put out?
No, so Blade Runner 1, right, was just like there. I don't know if I want to talk about it because of spoilers.
Dude, Blade Runner 1 is an old movie.
Fine.
The statute of limitations is up.
Yep.
Fine. So, do you care, Tim?
I don't care that much.
Okay. Well, if anyone sees the new movie, it basically just confirms it anyway.
Oh, wait,
but
you meant spoilers for the new movie.
No, spoilers for the old movie.
Oh, yeah, go ahead then.
Yeah, so it kind of just ends with, Harrison Ford, like, just there. But later on, I think, like, in the 90s, they, all the parts where he's, like, not talking, like, Harrison Ford's character's not talking, they put in a bunch of voiceovers. And that's not the spoiler part, but, like...
Wait, you talking about the director's cut version?
Yeah, the director's cut version that they added in later with the unicorn.
Wowzers.
He gets like a dream with a unicorn, and supposedly that was the key to telling everybody, like, oh my god, fucking Harrison Ford's character is actually a replicant the whole time. They never came out and said it.
Oh.
They never came out and said the movie never came out. It was just a fan theory. But I can almost guarantee you there are people out there listening like, oh, no, Tyler, it was obvious the whole time. You're just dumb. And you know what? You're probably right.
Oh, Tyler.
But you know what, though? It's
savage.
stupid. Nah. That's where they're wrong.
No.
And wrong and right at the same time.
Oh,
but
no.
mostly wrong about this situation. Because it's dumb. Fuck retcons. Anyway.
Fuck retcons.
Fuck retcons. Like it just made things more confusing. If I feel like directors go back or like writers decide they want to go back and be like, oh well, I have the technology, or if I go back and do something different, it's gonna be a lot better this time. And 9 times out of 10, it's not.
How much do you guys know about the Star Wars retcon?
I know that all of it's gone.
Fuck Clone Wars. Fuck the books. Clone Wars was there, right?
Oh,
first
yeah, the
Clone
shitty
Wars.
new Clone Wars is there.
Shitty new Clone Wars
The
is
old one's
there.
gone though.
The
And the
sick
cartoon.
Okay, the
Yeah,
old
the cartoon.
cartoon was fucking amazing, but its story was not fantastic.
It was cool though.
It was so cool.
It was
though.
so cool. It was just cool.
You're not even
But, like-
wrong. Holy shit, was it cool?
All the games, everything that was supposed to be like in the canon was taken out, I hear.
Pretty
So-
much.
Like all the books, all that shit.
The only thing that has supposedly survived, maybe, and people are saying it might be more likely now that we have this the re-release of KOTOR, like we talked about on the new Xbox, because the stuff from the Old Republic is about 4,000, 3,500 at this point years before Battle of Yavin. I don't know if you guys know this. Battle of Yavin is year 0 in Star Wars history. At least it was. But that's year 0, so there's BBY before the Battle of Yavin and ABY after the Battle of Yavin.
Baby.
ABB.
ABB.
But KOTOR is about almost 4,000 years before the battle. So people are like, oh, they never said it's not because it doesn't really conflict with anything. And then apparently in either the new cartoon, I think in Rebels they reference the Mandalorian Wars, which is the event that took place right before KOTOR 1. So that's the one thing people are like, no, it still happened, but everything else is just fucking gone. And it's still, I am genuinely, so part of the reason I don't do as many Star Wars videos these days is honestly I'm less of a Star Wars fan. And then when you see that episode 7 is what we lost all of this stuff for.
Damn.
It's just such a kick in the teeth.
The salt flows.
Like it. No, I'm not like in denial. I understand exactly why Disney did this, so that they didn't have to be tied down to a lot of bullshit. Because for every great story, there were a few bad stories.
Yeah.
Like one of the worst I always reference is this book called The Crystal Star, where basically Luke and everybody go to a space station near a binary star where there's literally a being from another dimension who is either killing people or is basically either healing people or secretly killing them to drain the force from them so that they can power themselves up to go back to their own dimension. It's a huge pile of garbage. It's fucking terrible. There's also this 3-book arc where Luke meets this old Jedi girl in a computer inside this old super weapon, and then she transfers into the body of one of his students whose boyfriend died.
Fuck?
This sounds like some other movie or show I've seen.
Right?
But then there's like amazing stuff like the Thrawn trilogy, where it's like that's the kind of thing I wish you could have done a fucking movie about it because holy shit is it so cool. And then they're like, no, we'll write a new book about Thrawn and we'll bring him back in the Rebels, but he'll lose to these shitty little few rebels all the time. Even though Thrawn doesn't really lose. Whoops.
Spoiler.
It literally was. Like, I think I've said before, I spent almost all of high school, Freeman, you can attest to this, every single day, I fucking would carry around, you remember, I don't know if you remember exactly, but I had my binder with notes for all my classes, pencil case, and a book with me. And
You always had like a Star Wars book with you.
it was basically always a Star Wars book.
What a nerd.
And I read like all of them. And it legit, like, you could tell me almost any one of those books, or like you could start talking to me about it, and within a minute I would know which book you were talking about, and I could get into a conversation about it. And just to have that all gone. Like the Republic Commando video game, which is so good. It's so fun. Fucking Jedi Academy. Like that's what really, like, I know we kind of got into this when we talked about episode 7, but when in episode 7 they're like, Luke started a few Jedi, but then Kylo Ren went evil and they all died. Like,
whoa, man! Spoilers for the new movie.
Like in the books, Luke did start. It took Luke almost 15 years after Yavin to try to establish a new Jedi Order, and the first class had, I want to say, at least 3 deaths, and 2 guys go to the dark side. and one of them came back, and one of them was not very powerful and eventually kind of died in a really shitty way. Like, not shitty, well, it's kind of bad writing, but he basically fell in with a bad crowd and then died. But it's like, that was a lot, like, that was some shit. But then this new crop comes forward, and they are like the Jedi Masters 30 years later. And it's like the whole time there's barely any Jedi, and it's like they're struggling to learn how to build an entire order again. And it just, like, all of that is just gone. Like I said, like the Old Republic stuff was about 3,000 years. There is stuff from there is a book about the very first Jedi, like the people who were originally part of these two sects on this one planet, and that's what turned into the Jedi thousands of years later. And there's a book about them. But the main chunk of story takes place from just before Episode 1 till, I want to say, 50 years almost. Yeah, like 50 years after Episode 6 is when the last book was.
God damn.
Interesting.
And there's a lot of fucking history in there. Like, part of what I hate about the new Clone Wars TV show is there were lots of books about, like, here's a book where Obi-Wan goes by himself to a planet that has an insect hive mind that secretly Count Dooku is working with, and Asajj Ventress is also there, and she's doing cool shit. Tyler, you might remember her from the old Clone Wars show. She's the white-skinned, black tattooed lady with the dual lightsabers who fights Anakin all the time. She's like this wannabe Sith, but Dooku just kind of uses her to just like be this kind of assassin-y thing, kind of like what Maul was for Palpatine. And like, she's in a bunch of the books, and the books expand on the war, and then there's comic books and stuff, and then you have this shitty looking TV show.
Damn.
My biggest problem with the retcon is it just doesn't feel like it was worth it. Like, it going from the retcon saying everything is gone to here's the Clone Wars TV show that's animated super fucking weird. I'm never going to get over how the new shows look. And
the problem is kids love it.
Why?
Kids love it.
Kids are eating the shit up.
Can you see why the kids love the shit that is Star Wars?
It just sucks because it really is one of the biggest retcons ever. Actually, I've been on the end of two. Really, what makes me super sad is I've basically been on the end of 2 retcons. Because, Tyler, we talked about this last week or the week before when we talked about Halo Reach a little bit. How Halo Reach retcons a bunch of Halo books.
Yup.
Like, so I've had to deal with one of my favorite video game series and one of my favorite, like, life-spanning series. Both have been retconned by something that I feel like is way shittier than the original product.
Yeah, that's what happens. Wait, I got a question.
Shoot.
I don't know. I feel like this could be interpreted differently, but this is just an opinion. A Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Do you think the translation from the books to the TV show, would you consider that retcon?
No.
No, it's more like an alternate universe.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
No,
because to me, I don't know why, but I get the feeling, like I get like a tinge of it, and I'm like, that's why I asked the question.
I mean, it's a retcon in that their universe will be finished and the book one will never be finished.
Sigh.
Yeah, it's just weird. The fan fiction that overtook the original.
God damn. Yo, but in some cases though, some parts were, I think, told better.
Oh yeah.
Like what, in the show?
Yeah, in the show. Like Brienne's whole story. Yeah. Like her leaving King's Landing and going on her journey or whatever was so much better in the show than it was in the books.
Was it just like mundane in the books? Like, was it just the actress who brought the character to life? Like, what was it?
No, it was the writing of her, just like her journey. Like, basically, she ends up going off, and she's trying to find Sansa, right?
Yeah.
Like in the show, right? That's her goal. But instead, she does a lot of bullshit, meets some randos, runs into Lady Stoneheart, and then just kind of goes back into herself. Like she leaves Jamie from King's Landing to go find her. Instead, kind of gets like turned around, and in that time, Jamie goes out over to oh my god, the twins, yeah, or some shit like that. And
no,
she ends
isn't
up
that during the siege
yeah, it's during the siege
of Blackwater, not
Not
Blackwater.
Blackwater, the blackfish.
The Blackfish.
Blackfish is. Yeah, and so it's almost like she basically went fucking nowhere. Like Jamie was sitting on his ass, and then had to go. That goes from there to rounding up all of his guys to go there, and then all of a sudden she's there. Like Brienne's there too. It's like holy shit.
Tyler, you mentioned actually something that I feel like the show. Now that we've gotten farther into the show, I am totally okay with Lady Stoneheart not being there.
Oh.
Spoiler talk real quick. Isn't Lady Stoneheart just
reanimated zombie Catelyn Stark?
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. She basically serves the same role as the Hound is practically doing now. Well, not the Hound, but the guys he's with. The priest guy who
well, yeah, because she's supposed to be like with them though.
No, she basically is. I thought the other guy dies or something.
Beric
Dondarrion.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't he die?
He does die for real.
Yeah, and then she just is basically him, but zombie Catelyn.
Yeah.
It's like, I can understand, writing that, but I also honestly don't mind the narrowing of characters.
True.
Like, there's so many characters. Like I feel
probably the biggest problem with early Thrones, that it was hard to keep up with what's going on.
So
with all the
many characters. So
it's very
many.
off-putting.
Oh my god, there's infinite characters. But like, the show feels totally fine. Like, I almost don't mind that we're never gonna have a scene where Sansa and Arya are like, "Hey, look, it's Zombie Mom."
Zombie Mom.
Like, I'm okay with a universe where the White Walkers are the only people who are, like, coming back to life outside of Beric, but he's also got one eye and he's a badass cool guy with a drunk priest, so who cares?
The drunk priest who makes out with him, who can't make out with him anymore.
Wait, what?
Because he's dead.
They made
In
out?
the show? Yeah, that's how he brought him back to life, or at least in the books, he would, like, kiss him.
I don't remember that.
I remember.
I don't remember that happening in the show. Let me put it that way.
Or maybe not in the show, but probably the book.
I genuinely don't remember. I read the books the one time 2 years ago.
Maybe I must write.
Yeah,
I must write terrible like fan fiction then. Maybe shit. Holy hell.
Anyway, we're getting off topic of retcons though. No, but it was a fair
sort of.
question. It was a fair question because but then if you think of that as a retcon, but then like, are the Harry Potter movies retcons? Not really.
I guess
I wouldn't say,
because they don't really change the story that much. They just make it all a lot more condensed and kind of shitty.
Damn.
Not that the movies are shitty, but like
what's Val's consensus on the difference
I'm
between
sure,
the movies and the books?
I don't even know.
I don't even.
Both. She's in so deep.
Cause I'm in too deep. I'm trying to keep.
But
moving on.
I don't know. Like, that's one of those things where they didn't retcon things so much as just kind of change the rules.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's part of why I loved the Star Wars expanded universe, because it didn't feel like they were really ever changing the rules. That's a big part of it. Like, in the books, they were kind of, unfortunately, weaving in some of the Clone Wars TV show bullshit. Like, in the Clone Wars TV show, Obi-Wan and Anakin basically go to a dimension of Force gods.
Interesting.
Where, like, the dark side one gets killed or something, or Anakin kills him or something. And then it kind of started playing into the books, and that's when the books kind of started getting a little goofy near the end. Like, timeline-wise, the latest stuff was kind of... because of some of this side bullshit where they were like, oh, we're looking for the obelisk of whatever that Obi-Wan mentioned or whatever. So that's a little annoying, because they did kind of start playing with it. But overall, a lot of the best Star Wars stories don't break the rules. That's what really can take me out of a story. Like, that's what bugs me out, like, with the new Harry Potter movies. From, like, movie 5 on, they're never casting spells. It's like the fucking video game where you're just machine gunning blue light out of your fucking wand. Like, there's no Avada Kedavra or anything. It's just like,
follow the rules set.
Stop, Ron.
I mean, I think that's more of like, I want to call it a power creep issue with the shit with this
power creep.
No, this is a real thing. So like, look at something like Dragon Ball, where
of course I was just thinking Dragon Ball.
Like the first show, like the fact that Goku and whatever Master Roshi's alias was in the first martial arts tournament, the first time they used the Kamehameha wave against each other, it's fucking unheard of. No one does that technique. No one fights using energy. The last arc of the dub of Super, there's a scene where Goku and Frieza are just like throwing energy balls at each other, and no one like even cares that the shit is happening. People are swatting them away. Vegeta's like blocking ones from hitting him. Like, people just throwing out what used to be big things like it's no big deal. And that's kind of, on a smaller scale in Harry Potter, where it's just like shit that used to matter and be important is just kind of like, oh,
but that feels different. Like, it's not breaking the rules for them to be firing these giant energy blasts. They just got stronger. But how do you get so strong that you can just machine gun off spells? I
mean, I feel like it's like the same thing.
But, like, they also look different. Like, in the first few movies, it's like you wave your wand and, like, there's a mystical wave kind of thing. And now it's like, what are you actually shooting? Like, if it... Okay, Freeman, let me put it this way. No,
I'm joking. Well, I know what you're saying. The actual shots they're firing looked very different from what they were doing earlier in the series.
But also, it turns into Star Wars. The good guys fire red and the bad guys fire green. Like, at least have each different spell be a different color. Like, then you're literally just turning it into a video game where you're just like, green, 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 red, 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 red. Like, at least Star Wars came up with a dumb reason why the good guys fired red lasers and the bad guys fired green lasers. It was a dumb reason, but at least they come up with a reason. But, like, Harry Potter doesn't have a reason why all the good guys are firing red magic.
The problem is the fans of that series are A-okay with the reason being, well, they're evil, so it's a different color.
No, they're fucking not. They can just turn their brains off easier than I fucking can.
I was like, because they're basic. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I just, as me, I have a harder time turning my brain off to watch things. Like, hell, I posted on Facebook the other day, Val and I rewatched all of Back to the Future.
Nice.
We watched 2 and 3... I want to say 2 nights ago we watched
The one thing I miss about having a TV in my room is hitting it when it's like randomly on some channels.
Well, no, not even that. I just pulled it up on the like streaming and just was
it was like an intentional watch through.
Yeah. No, because my Pandora station, I was listening in the car, and it's based on the guys who made the song for Back to the Future, so that comes on a lot. But I was driving home and Gotta Get Back in Time came on. And I was like, oh yeah, we watched Back to the Future 1 a few weeks ago, which is why I made this Pandora station. We should just watch 2 and 3 finally. But, like, I was, even during that, like, I love Back to the Future. It's one of my favorite, it's like one of my top 5 movie franchises. But even then, I was still like, "What the fuck? This is so goofy." Like at the end of the third movie, when they're standing by the train tracks and the train signal starts going down, and there's nothing there. Like, why the fuck is this happening? This is retarded. But I fucking love it because it's so it doesn't matter. The rules, it's breaking the rules, but it's not doing something that actively affects the story. It's just for that goofy moment of what? Why are the train signals going up? Boom, boom, boom. Oh, there's a train. But then in Harry Potter, you're like actively damaging the rule set you've established, where people have to shout out your spells. Like, it's not even. I'd say it's a power creep thing for even if Voldemort didn't have to say his own spells. But in the books,
using,
he
like,
still
the most
says.
OP shit.
But even then, he turns into laser mode. Like he still has to say Avada Kedavra to fucking kill a guy, and you think he's not casting that spell every time when it's a green laser?
You know what's some shit though? Fantastic Beasts. What's his face? Could use spells without fucking saying anything. That shit was dope.
Here's the thing. Val didn't love that either.
Oh, that he
was
couldn't.
she like just okay
No,
with
the
it,
movie.
or she actively hated it?
She was kind of like, and I'm like, that's pretty bad.
Oh
Yo,
wow.
I thought the movie was okay, but like I think it was at the very end when I forget the actor's name who they turned him into at the end.
Johnny
Another
Depp.
big name actor. No, Johnny Depp. Oh right, no, he turned into Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Colin Farrell.
Yes.
Was the one who was the guy, and then he turns into Johnny Depp.
Yeah, that's right. Yo, he
Like,
started.
what's the point of having two big actors be the fucking same dude?
That was a problem. I don't know. Anyway, fuck it. Off topic again.
Oh boy.
No, or at least like we've gotten off
We've a
topic.
little-
Oh, I thought you were saying you wanted to bring something up.
No.
But still, like, I think changing your rules is a retcon. Like, see, my big problem with something like Fantastic Beasts and like the later Harry Potters is also magic just seems like you can see when someone takes a rule set and says, okay, I've established these rules. Now I'm going to break those rules, but not even in like an interesting way, just because I feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I mean, a lot of stories will do that just to make things cooler and not try to get bogged down by the rules that they've
yeah, and it's
already
annoying.
created.
I fucking hate that. Like, platform 9 3/4 was the most amazing magic in fucking Harry Potter 1. And then you get to, like, Fantastic Beasts, and it's like, oh, we're just gonna casually have, like, numerous fucking, like, all this bullshit around the city, and we're just doing magical stuff out in the streets because I'm sure we'll get everybody with our mind erase spell, like our Men in Black bullshit.
So I think
the neuralizer shit.
I think a lot of the problem with that was just that special effects have gotten to the point where it's easy to do these magical effects on screen. Like, you go back to when Harry Potter 1, the movie, was made. A lot of those effects took a lot of practical work to get them to look good on screen. So you made each effect seem as, like, story-wise, you made everything seem as magic as possible. There was like a 2 to 3 minute lead up to running at the wall to get through platform 9 3/4 because this was going to be one of the cooler scenes in the movie. Whereas now that, compared to like the modern effects, it's not as amazing. So they keep having to like push themselves to do things that look cool. That's
fair.
why we see this. I'm not justifying it, I'm just explaining why.
No, I know, but my counter to that is the books already had written it. Like, she didn't write the first book with the thought in mind of, when this gets made into a movie, I want to make it easier on the animators.
Oh,
I know,
no.
I agree that they did it the easiest way they could, but also at the end of the series, I'm pretty sure she wasn't writing like they just started slinging spells around like bullshit. Like, I don't feel like that point ever came.
Oh yeah, no. It wasn't like also, especially with the reading, a lot of it is up to your imagination. So you need, a lot of times you'll read it, you'll assume like this is how it works in the book. So I assume that when it mentions people casting spells, you in your head hear them actually casting spells. Whereas when it comes to actually making it to a movie, they're like, it's easier to just have people shooting random shit and cut all the audio.
Well, sure, like, side people can just throw shit around without, like, you don't need to hear everyone shouting, but at the same time, that kind of adds to it. Like, the whole point, like, even if you want to say that the most powerful people in the world can shoot spells without saying anything, fucking Hogwarts students should not be so good that they can just sling this shit around. Like, and fine, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are really high. That's fine. But then don't be like, oh, the students who are just trying to, like, throw up shields against Voldemort and his dudes, they are not just slinging spells around without saying anything.
Very Wingardium Leviosa.
So, all right. So
Leviosa.
we've established that Harry Potter's just some kind of power creep. Established
like Madge.
retcon. Yo, that was one of the examples I wanted to bring up.
Oh shit!
See, boom, there we go.
So I was talking during our breaks that there are a couple different reasons they'll do retcons, and one of the ones I want to bring was just strictly for writing purposes. A lot of times people or writers will like write themselves into a corner. They can't meaningfully progress the plot. And that was it was 50% that, 50% just marketing, who decided that Magic needed a giant overhaul with how it handles the main characters of its series. So during, what year was it? Was it 2004 this happened?
I don't know what you're talking about, so I can't answer.
When did Time Spiral happen?
Jesus, dude, I don't fucking know.
All right, so when Time Spiral happened, Wizards decided that the main characters of the story, who were basically these like omnipotent godlike figures, were just too unrelatable for people to enjoy.
2006.
So they decided it was 2006. So they decided they wanted to kind of overhaul the laws of the universe to essentially power down the main characters who are planeswalkers. So they had this whole event called Time Spiral, which is really cool, where they were just like, too much magic use is ripping holes in the
literally
multiverse.
Time is unraveling.
And it became really cool because it let them sort of do. It wasn't really a time traveling set. It was more like a set that had a lot of references to stuff throughout Magic's history. It was a cool set.
Planar Chaos is so fucking cool.
It was a cool set, but the aftermath of the set was they changed the nature of what a planeswalker or like the magic casters of Magic is.
No, it's the plane. I know you're trying to make it simpler.
I'm trying to describe if people don't play Magic.
But planeswalkers are so radically different from just mages.
Well, sorry, I'm trying to when I said Magic cast, I meant like Magic the game cast. But anyway, point is, people who use Magic in universe prior to Time Spiral, they were all stupid powerful. Some of them were actually immortal. Going forward, they were more just like regular people or creatures that happen to be able to move between like planes of existence. Mm-hmm. And by powering down, they're able to write supposedly more relatable characters. And so far, it's been a lot better. The stories are actually very interesting, a little more human. If you go back to the older ones, it's a lot about these more grand things like wars between planes and people assembling massive armies very regularly. Like everything with Urza, or everything with like what's his name, like Yawgmoth and everything there with Phyrexia. Like they have more grand plot lines. And then Magic became a lot more focused. They're able to like bring it into like characters. Like people now care very much about tiny individual characters who may or may not survive a block. Like
Jace.
Like the last block of Magic, we don't know if like we went in going, 5 of the main characters might die right now. Like there was an actual risk on the line. Whereas you have something like Urza,
none of them died.
None of them died. But they needed to do it for writing purposes, and players were, especially older fans, were very pissed off because it meant almost all the old stories didn't matter anymore. And we kind of gotten to the point in Magic where there's a huge split between old and new fans, where new fans just like, they don't know any of these references anymore, and it almost doesn't even matter.
I think it's fair to say we both fall into that camp. Like you knew Time Spiral, and I know what you're talking about, but we don't.
Like I've read up a lot I've read up through the lore as much as you can by going through the wiki, but I didn't read any of the old books. I wasn't playing through the sets as they come out, and a lot of the lore comes from just experiencing the set when it comes out, because every set has its own feel. But they needed to change their main characters for writing purposes. So that was probably one big retcon everyone always talking about in terms of like tabletop gaming.
It also kind of took away a lot. Like, you either have to have every side in a conflict have a planeswalker of godlike power, or you have the mending happen and then they're all powered down to kind of normalish levels, so you can have much less grand stories. Like, you couldn't have, like, the current story that just finished was Jace wandering around on Ixalan because he's lost his memory for the billionth time.
Fucking number one hobby.
You could never, ever, ever have done that story, because if he was a real planeswalker from before the mending, he could just wipe out the whole plane just casually. Urza fucking built and destroyed multiple planes in his lifetime. That whole Sarah's Sanctum, fucking that's
his creation?
I don't remember if it's his, but it's an artificial plane that he, like, I think he made, if I remember correctly, and then he fucking destroyed one. Yeah,
it was. Don't get me wrong; it's all cool, but
it's cool, but it's so big.
They started running out of things to do with that point, so they had to rewrite it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go one more example I had of something you can do, just because I wanted to bring some anime into this. But sometimes
And
the writer comes up with a straight improvement that they really want to roll with, and they almost don't care about the implications of changing something established in their world.
the implications.
Because the implications. And the biggest one, this one always bothered me because I knew about it when I started watching the first time, was for Naruto. For anyone who's watched the first 30 seconds of Naruto, you know that he has this demon fox sealed in him that like ruined his village when he was born. And for the first part of the show, they explain that, oh, the nine-tailed fox is some kind of like naturally occurring phenomenon, and it happens to be this randomly destructive thing that shows up. Then they introduce Gaara like 52 episodes in. They're like, oh man, he has a similar beast inside him too, but they're not related. And then you get to the end of the arc where they introduce Akatsuki and the organization that's like hunting down ninjas, and then going into Shippuden, they're like, yeah, it turns out that in addition to your nine-tailed fox, there's 9 beasts total, each of increasing power. And they create this arbitrary rule set of what the deal was with these the tailed beasts. And they all had a lot of importance to kind of the history of ninja warfare and whatever, and it ended up being really cool. But the problem is, if you go back to the original Naruto with that knowledge, a lot of shit makes absolutely zero sense of why, like later on they treat anyone who has a tailed beast as super duper important. But part 1 of Naruto, they let him go anywhere the fuck he wants, even though it's high risk for him to be literally anywhere. Or characters who are very like in the know later on about like what's going on with the tailed beast, and flashbacks show they've known since before Naruto was born, act like they don't know anything about this shit in the earlier parts of the show. So it was done strictly to make writing going forward better at the cost of making things make sense when you go back and reread them.
I mean, I feel like that's a problem that almost everything that goes on for a long time, like we're having that problem a lot more these days because so many stories aren't allowed to die because they sell well.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with like Naruto and weekly mangas, they don't really expect you to go back and read that far back. Like they usually just want you to keep up with current plot lines. So they kind of don't give a shit about the past.
That's fucked.
It is fucked, but this happens a lot.
Bad
like,
storytelling.
Like if you want to torture yourself, go read and or watch Bleach, because they do that shit all the time. They'll explain where someone got their power, and then they'll be like,
no,
oh, oops, surprise, they actually got their power from blah blah. Uh-oh, he's the villain now.
Yeah, tell her, coming from someone who watched all of Bleach, just don't do it. It's a trap.
Or no, she should watch the first 71 episodes and then quit. Never look back.
That's what she said, because she's like, Freeman said it's fine if you just watch the first few episodes.
The problem is she's going to want to continue, and it's going to ruin your lives like it did me.
Fucking is.
So stay away from Bleach.
And
so yeah, the correct answer comes out.
You won't be like me though and get a fake sword though. Don't be like me.
Or
I
like
have ancient
sword.
Dude, I have the dude's hat from
Urahara's hat. Yeah. Wait, I think I told you I got Ichigo's first Bankai or whatever.
Yeah, you were telling us about it.
Yeah.
Dude, that sword's dope.
Yo, it is pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie. Retcons.
I did have one last retcon on this list.
Hell yeah,
where it's just a shitty mistake and the author doesn't know what to do about it.
Oh, perfect.
And this is a real fucking good one, because this one defined the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure community.
Ooh.
So JoJo is split into different generations. Each one like skips a generation of people in this Joestar family. And the way the first JoJo dies is he's on this boat, and the villain Dio sneaks on in a coffin. He kills the main character. The boat's about to explode. And the main character's wife hides in the coffin and uses that to kind of sail away from this boat. So she gets away on this coffin. Like 10 years of JoJo manga happen. The author's starting to forget shit from part 1. And he's like, let me write the villain who snuck onto the ship back into the show. How do I do it? He should be at the bottom of the sea. Oh, wait. I'll just say he went back into his coffin and waited like 100 years. Except he forgot that he used the coffin as someone else's escape device. So he gets pulled out of the ocean in the same coffin, and everyone's like, hey, didn't so-and-so escape on that? And he had an official statement saying, oops, I kind of forgot I wrote that. Just pretend I didn't. Because he's like, I don't want to explain it. Just he totally got in the coffin. So there's no like actual logical explanation of what really happened, because we do have to keep what happened in the original in mind, because the character who survived is super important, so she clearly did survive. But at the same time, this dude was a major villain for part 3, so he also survived, which means we have this ambiguous, no one really knows what happened, because the author doesn't know what to do about it.
Blat. I think we can actually call it, because we've had a pretty good discussion about retcons.
Yeah, I got all my points for good examples
covered. I honestly kind of just want to cut it off, because I don't want to risk slipping back into the Star Wars thing.
No, let's just risk slipping into hero.
Oh, God.
Fuck out of here.
No,
Fuck
all right,
you.
all right. So what do we do? So wait, hold on. So let's what the consensus was? We all hate retcons.
Yeah. Overall,
Yeah,
retcons usually aren't good.
Yeah, I don't think we need to around the room
They
on this. I
can
think we're
suck
pretty much
my
in agreement.
penis.
Oh God.
It's fucking terrible.
Oh Jesus.
Oh jeez, Rick.
Oh jeez, Rick. Oh God.
Oh God. No.
Anyway, though, yeah, no, it's a good thing to talk about because I think as more and more media goes forward, like we have more retcons. Like hell, Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider games that fucking retconned the old Tomb Raider for sure. Like, we're in the age where reboots and retcons are becoming the norm. And I think retcons are kind of built into reboots. So it's all kind of blurred together, but retcons can be much more small scale. I think like a reboot is a giant retcon.
Yeah, it's usually like a hard reset.
Thing. Yeah. But like then you have cases like you were talking about with JoJo Freeman where it is just changing some details.
Yeah.
That's honestly what I liked about the old Star Wars universe. They usually didn't change their own details. I'm sure they did. Yeah. I know they did, but it was such a big universe. Fuck, they killed everything.
We'll just end with this. Retcons always have a reason. They're just not always good reasons.
Usually they're not. Well, even if they're not, even if they're good reasons, they're usually executed poorly too. Yeah. Or at least not well enough for the fans, which is everybody, because they never succeed with pleasing fans.
Pretty much.
Anyway, I got a message just at the start of the. Now that we're doing closing real quick, I got a message at the start of the podcast from Cypher, since on Discord. Tell Freeman that I eagerly await his anime ramblings and Tyler to continue being just Tyler. You guys just bring me happiness when you guys talk about random stuff, and hearing you and Freeman fight while Tyler keeps saying "damn, damn" in the background. Damn. So that's a fucking great comment. A 10 out of 10 comment right there.
Beautiful.
Accurate depiction of the podcast.
Let's I'm just gonna check if there was anything on the podcast last week. No, there was nothing on the podcast last week.
No.
Just a comment about being upset about Visceral.
Superman
Visceral is sad that it is gone, and that is true. It is sad. Yes, so I guess we'll just go to closing. Tyler, what are you doing this week?
Oh, you know what I'm doing this week.
D2 the Mighty Ducks.
D2 the Mighty Ducks. No,
Destiny, bro.
Well, what am I doing tomorrow, guys? What's happening tomorrow?
It's time.
So Tyler.
Oh yeah. So this is
brush off his DM skills.
Yeah.
So for those of you who've been listening to the podcast for a while, we've mentioned on and off that we have been doing a D&D game that I have been running, where I was running Freeman, Tyler, my girlfriend Val, Leslie, and Luigi through the world of Fable 1, and last week they successfully defeated Jack of Blades in an epic showdown.
Hell yeah.
And that nearly resulted in multiple deaths, but everybody actually made it out.
I'm honestly shocked that some of us survived.
There was some close calls. Tyler almost had his face melted off, which was excellent.
Yep.
Just fell into a lava pool doing my final attack.
Yeah, Freeman literally had to be Nightcrawler saved like an X2 because
that shit was wild.
To fucking die.
I didn't even know Luigi was capable of doing what he did.
Honestly, he probably.
I was like getting ready to crumble up my character sheet, and he's like, "I used Shadow Door, or
Dimensional Door." That's
Dimensional Door. I'm like, "Uh-oh, he might actually save me."
Yo, that's a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
I wouldn't be surprised. It sounds vaguely familiar. I feel like I've heard Yugi in the anime shout "Dimensional Door" or some bullshit like that.
Just like Door of Dark Dimensions or some shit.
See now, but I'm also thinking about Super Dimensional Anchor.
My God.
Wait, is that oh my God because you get it?
No, I don't get what this is.
Super Dimensional Anchor?
Oh wait, I know.
Jesus! Come on, Freeman. I'm taking it back past My Hero to Gurren.
Jesus.
Super Dimensional Anchor.
Oh my God.
You're not laying a finger on my Earth. And then I'm not going to repeat the literally corniest line in the entire fucking show. Oh, Freeman's barely even listening at this point.
Dude, I'm trying to figure out this dark dimension shit. Is like, it's killing me.
Oh my god. Anyway, so we successfully finished my game. It took over a year. And now we are heading into Tyler's game, the game that we played back on our camping trip in June. And I can finally pop open the notebook I got for everybody again. We can start using our fancy notebooks. Finally. Yeah. I'm holding it in my hand, but of course it's an audio podcast. You guys can't see it. Nah.
It's fucking sick.
They are fairly cool notebooks. I am glad they went over well. And I'm glad that we all get to finally start using them for something.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And it'll also be very nice to not have to DM for a short while.
Yeah, now I'm gonna do it.
Not that I don't enjoy DMing, but man, oh man, is it fun to play D&D.
Dude, I love having you in a squad when we're playing D&D because you come with very creative solutions to problems that the group would otherwise not even think of.
Dude, I gotta. It's fucking. I'm the problem. So that's why I always play a sorcerer because I got fucking magic on my side.
I got the power of magic and anime on my side.
Oh my fucking god.
You should have seen that coming.
I should have. You're right. Tyler, are you doing anything besides Mighty Ducks and D&D?
Working on the weekend. I don't know. I got nothing else going on. I'm boring, dude.
Oh my god, we're all boring. We've established this
It's
before.
true. We're boring. I'm boring as fuck.
Oh my god, Freeman, please.
Yeah, save us.
Oh
I'll
my
play a
God.
little bit of D2. I've got what the fuck do I have going on? I might be raiding in Guild Wars. It's obviously probably not going to happen. But you know, Stranger Things 2 on Friday. Probably gonna try and marathon that. I don't know if I want to watch the whole thing in one weekend. I probably want to just to avoid spoilers.
Oh yeah,
The internet's gotten real shitty lately with it.
Leslie and I are probably gonna watch that. I forgot.
Yeah,
Speaking
Val
of
and I
stuff
will
that three
probably
of us
start
are
on
watching.
Friday.
Probably also watch Walking Dead.
Three of us.
Oh,
you mean
God.
you two and Leslie, if anything.
Yeah, I want
Okay.
three of us. Tyler just said him and Leslie. I'm like, oh, three of us. Sorry, I
Oh,
didn't mean to.
no, I
exclude you
understand.
two.
That's what I figured, but because I was like, "Fuck Walking Dead."
Yeah.
man.
I have a Halloween party I'm supposed to go on Saturday, but I don't want to go because it would require me to basically sleep over.
Oof.
What the hell?
And at some point in there, I am gonna watch. I mentioned this anime movie a couple weeks ago that's in theaters, A Silent Voice. I'm
Yes.
not going to one of the theatrical showings. It's not lining up with my schedule. So I may have sailed the seven seas and gotten my subtitled copy. So I'll probably watch that either this weekend or next weekend.
Sailed the seven seas. Damn.
We can't.
No,
say the
y'all
pirate-
all
we
know
can't-
what that means.
We can't say the piracy word. But yeah, I think that's all I got going on. Nothing too crazy. Oh, but real quick, I might be building SRAM EDH if I have some spare cash at the end of the month, just because it looks like a solid monocolor deck. I know you have SRAM, right?
I already have them.
Yeah,
I
I
actually
know.
just ordered 3 new cards from the commander set finally.
Yeah, I want that mirror match to happen at some point.
Oh Jesus, dude!
Who
Ah,
can
Jesus.
It all comes down to who hits that first land drop. Whoever gets to go first, whoever wins the dice roll, just wins the game because they get to have SRAM out a turn earlier.
Pretty much. But yeah, that's all I got going on.
You're such a motherfucker! I fucking built SRAM as the only monocolor.
Dude, I'm trying to do the monocolor challenge, and I realized Darien King of Keldor is just a shitty
Fucking
deck.
boring.
It's a real bad deck that folds to my favorite kind of card, which is a board wipe.
Oh god. See, the problem is SRAM builds one way, and you're gonna fucking build the same SRAM deck I have because it's the best SRAM deck possible.
I'm gonna mix equipment and auras. It's gonna be great.
I fucking mixed equipment and
Jesus. See, this is why. Jesus.
That's fine, Freeman. I'm kidding.
Jesus.
That's okay. I'm also just buying all the cheap cards first, just so it's budget, so I can.
I mean, luckily,
friend
all
do
the like
shitty
those
Magic
those
Card with
shitty zero cost equipments cost like 10 cents, but you need them
Yeah,
for
that's-
SRAM.
That's part of the reason I'm building that deck.
No, I mean, I already have. I only have mono green, don't I? Because I have Selvala also. I gotta build.
I had red and green planned. Black I was going to do. You've already seen my build. The one with the dude whose power and toughness are equal number of swamps you have.
Oh, yeah. Yep,
Just a bunch of cards like that scale well with a bunch of swamps.
Isn't he the guy who has grandeur, but it doesn't matter?
Yes, grandeur, the ability that doesn't matter in Commander.
The ability literally does nothing. Tyler, the ability grandeur relies on you having multiple copies of the same card to do special effects, which is physically impossible in Commander.
Because everything's a one of.
It's the fucking most worthless ability. It's useless.
Awesome. They've publicly come out, or at least Morrow said in his blog, that he's like, yeah, that mechanic is just really shitty given how popular Commander is.
I mean, they probably made it before Commander was as big as it is, of course.
Yeah, it was. I think it was before Commander had really started, but yeah, they basically admitted that's never coming back. So it just doesn't work with.
Which is not a bad idea.
That's not a bad thing. That mechanic kind of sucked.
Oh, it fucking it didn't do anything. It was literally just for constructed, and none of the cards made it out of standard.
Play a bunch of legendary creatures, but get around the downside of having all those creatures being legendary.
Yeah, but now you could just run more planeswalkers because the planeswalker rules bullshit. Anyway, as far as my week, I'm working forever. I'm halfway through my 60-hour week, and then I'm just so I'm hoping to go in Saturday morning so I can go to the shop in the afternoon. Oh, for those of you at home, I worked crazy hours last week, and I had a much worse cough. But since these guys didn't come out for the weekend, I slept a little over 12 hours on Saturday. Went to the store without a cough, with my cough almost gone, and 5-0'd my Commander day, which was fantastic. This week, I'm probably going to go lose a bunch of Commander, which is fine, because Commander's fun. And yeah, I fully expect to be at work for like 10 hours Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, if not more, because our deadlines are such bullshit.
It really sucks this isn't happening.
Yeah, it's
unfortunate. How many weeks do you have to do this for?
I mean, we're only supposed to be doing 60-hour weeks until the end of the week, until the end of the month, which is Tuesday. But considering how many insane amount of drawings we have to do by the end of January, it's like 200 some, and we've done like 25 by now.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm gonna be working a lot, and for no overtime or anything. So,
Jesus.
I don't think I'm at risk of any of my coworkers listening to this, so I think it's okay to say that I am going to start looking at other opportunities of employment when I have a little free time. I don't expect
with this schedule, I don't blame you.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, dude.
I mean, I'd feel bad if I left the company and left these guys in an even deeper fucking hole. But at the same time, it's like, fuck you. If you're not going to pay me for all this extra, like I'm working 60-hour weeks for 40 hours worth of money every week. Like I'm already almost at 40. Let's see. Yeah, I'm at 35 hours for the week, and I have 25 more hours to go this week.
I'd be like, I ain't coming into work.
Well,
looks like it's an early week for me.
Luckily,
week for
Timpedia, if nothing else, I'm past my 90 days, so I now officially don't have to pay them back for moving me out here.
Oh, cool.
Look at that.
Anyway, I'm gonna try to record. I actually managed to put up the end of Shadow Warrior 2. I found myself with a little extra time on Sunday. So I was just like, oh, fuck it. I'll just beat Shadow Warrior 2. So yesterday I beat the game. Very shitty ending. Spoiler warning. Like the physical final cutscene is really kind of shitty and out of nowhere.
Damn.
But overall the game was a blast to play. But I'd say go play Titanfall 2 because it feels even better and the story is fantastic in Titanfall. Tyler, you beat the Titanfall 2 campaign, right?
No, I never.
You never got.
I actually played it. Yeah.
God damn it. Anyway, but yeah, that's
E2, the Mighty Ducks.
Oh my god.
You can record that.
If we can record it, that's fine. I can justify that I'm recording at least.
Play with these fuck boys.
I mean, I'm level 1. You guys are already like level 20.
I'm like level 7.
Yeah, and how many hours you guys put in already? Like 5.
2?
Like maybe 3.
Oh.
Yeah, tops. 3 tops.
Well, I'm still not going to have a ton of time to play, but I'll try to get into it and keep catching up. But
whatever. As Ty and I were saying before we started, there's always incentive for us to play with you as you're leveling.
That's true.
So it's not like we can't play just because you're not at
Who knows? Maybe I'll just be a fucking god at the game, and I'll just be like, oh, sorry, Val, dedicating my life to becoming an esports legend of...
Sorry, Val, we're on that raid grind right now.
She's going to be like, I'll just go date Luigi if you're going to be such a fuck about this.
Damn!
No, but anyway, we're going to fucking call it here. I want to go eat a little snack and go to sleep soon because I've been working all day.
Snacky?
Yeah, sounds good.
But thank you all very much for listening to the TNT podcast. We will be back next week. Hopefully, we'll have another topic that because we think of them last second every single fucking day.
Well, I can remember the one we came up with last week.
Yeah, you came with a good one. We're all like,
it was
"Fuck,
a good
what
one.
was
We
it?"
don't remember it.
No, we can't. I should have written it down, like I always fucking mean to, and then I just totally fucking forgot. Anyway, final sign off. Thank you all very much for listening. My name is Timpedia.
I'm Friedman.
And I'm just Tyler.
And we will see you guys next week on the TNT podcast.
See ya.